Hello, and welcome back to episode 22 of Corona Trials with Brian. It's currently raining in the monument, but it's daytime, so I can't sleep it away. No one else in the last couple of days has newly solved the puzzle, and we're at episode 22 now. The puzzle was a secret that I embedded in episodes 1 through 11, and so I think at this point I'm ready to call it off. It is the case that there are a couple of people who have solved it who I haven't had a chance to contact to discover if they want to have their name and put a particular item in the chest. But yeah, we had all of these people who solved it before, and so I thought I would do an out of the ordinary episode today just to kind of explain all of the puzzle to you all. And so today it'll be a kind of short episode that I'll count as part of the series, but then we'll also have a normal episode that will also air today. So for those who are not interested in puzzles at all, you could always skip this episode, and the next episode that'll come out probably later today will be a normal episode of me going and trying to conquer more of the deeper dungeon. So, let's get started. I've done a few of these types of secret puzzles or invisible scavenger hunts or what have you in the past, and when necessary to give hints, I've often done it on Twitter. And so back around, I think it was a little after episode 10 aired, I tweeted this tweet that's on the screen. One thing I really enjoy about playing Minecraft CTM maps is all the secrets to be found. And a friend of mine, Bergasm, said, "Spare a thought for all the undiscovered Easter eggs out there waiting patiently." To which I replied with a cough, as in, ahem, clearing your throat, as if you're trying to call attention to something. But yeah, nothing leapt out at anybody then. And then so after the next episode came out, after 11 came out and all of the information was there, I tweeted later in the day, "I've published 11 episodes of my latest Minecraft CTM, and it's no secret that 11 can also be found in my name, Dr. Brian Thorgon 111. And that was just to re-emphasize the fact that I don't tweet very often, other than just announcing that there's a new video published on YouTube, like the auto announcements that go out whenever your video goes live. And yeah, and so I was tweeting 2 days in a row, and both of them contained the words secret and found. Yeah, trying to emphasize the fact that there was a secret to be found, in case anyone would notice, but no one noticed just kind of on their own, just as a result of seeing those tweets or anything. So in episode 12, I actually explained in the episode that people were missing some secret that I had left in the first 11 episodes, and I did post another tweet after this as well. So after episode 12 came out and I had said in the video that people were missing some secret, I said, "No one's clever enough to yet find the secret held in my first 11 episodes of Corona Trials. Who will decode it first?" And I did this tweet just to help clarify, in case people weren't going to be able to solve it, that it was the secret, as opposed to like 11 different secrets in the 11 different episodes or something, and who will decode it first, implying that it was some kind of secret code. And I think possibly even before this tweet went out, someone had already, the first person had already solved it. And so, yeah, that person already had some suspicions, going all the way back to episode 1 at the very beginning of the series. So let's check out episode 1 from the very beginning of the series. Why, hello there! Welcome to Untold Stories number 4. Corona Trials is a relatively new map by renderXR. It is a CTM, Complete the Monument map. And I, when I'm starting out a new map or testing recording kind of stuff, I often will try to place and break blocks just to make sure that I am recording audio sounds correctly. It turns out that in the little lobby of this area, you have mining fatigue. And so I placed a dirt block here, but I can't actually get rid of it. So I have some dirt blocks in my inventory that I just gave myself because it didn't seem like there were any other blocks available here. But yeah, it's a new map from renderXR. And so there you go, something suspicious that a few people who had solved the puzzles said that they had thought it was suspicious right at the very beginning, or at least weird, that I'm starting a new CTM, and 0 seconds in, I've already given myself, cheated in some free resources. I gave myself some dirt, and then I fed you all a line about, I was doing audio testing to make sure I could place and break blocks or whatever, which honestly is something that I do sometimes, place and break blocks in some new map or something whenever I'm trying to do an audio test just to make sure Minecraft game sounds are working, but I edit that stuff out of the video. I mean, I've made probably 2,000 Minecraft videos over the past 6+ years. And do you guys remember me ever doing that before? Probably not. Yeah, because there's lots of little things like that that just get edited out of videos. Shields are fun. Yeah, so that was suspicious. And so, yeah, what was the reason that I needed to be holding some dirt blocks right at the beginning of that video? Well, if we go ahead and take a look at the next 4 videos to get us up to episode 5, we'll notice something else from the start of each of those videos. Hello, and welcome back to Corona Trials. Hello, and welcome back to Corona Trials with Brian. Hello, and welcome back to Corona Trials. Hello, and welcome back to Corona Trials with Brian. So in not just the first episode, but each of the first 5 episodes, I was holding dirt. And not just dirt, but different amounts of dirt, different numbers of dirt. In episode 1, I had 9. In episode 2, I had 13. And then, I think, 7 and 21 and 18, I believe. Which just look like, random numbers of dirt that you might be holding. But if you're aware that there's a secret code that you're supposed to be working on, and you think that the dirt is suspicious all the way back to episode number 1, you might look at those numbers and go, 9, 13, 7, 21, 18, and try to do something with them. And one of the commonest or simplest things to encode something with numbers is just to use the code A = 1, B = 2, C = 3, and so forth. And so if you use that code to decode the numbers of dirt that I was holding, you will get IMGUR. Imgur, or I don't know how to pronounce it, is the name of a very popular website where you can post photos and photo albums on the internet for other people to view. And I've actually used Imgur in the past for the invisible scavenger hunt that I did back in Minecraft Exploration and Tactics. And if you haven't seen that, I'll have links to episodes where I included the invisible scavenger hunt where there was a secret for people to find, and then the following episode where I explained it in terms of what was going on. And yeah, so in any case, I've used Imgur before, and so I figured some people would have noticed that, and if they saw that the amount of dirt's decoded to that, they would know that they were onto something. So I was holding dirt for the first 5 episodes, but then episode number 6 broke the streak. Hello, and welcome back to Corona Trials with Brian. I kind of like where I'm standing here. The ender chest is just in frame, and so you get these purple enderman particles. And I'm holding an album, record, music, CD, whatever, music disc. So at the start of episode 6, I was holding a music disc, and I explicitly called it an album at the start of the episode, and tried to make it just like it's one of the normal things that happens where I can't think of the right word to say, but I explicitly called it an album because Imgur is a photo site where you can post individual photos or photo albums, and so this is a clue that you are looking for an album. And the way that Imgur albums work in terms of the URLs that you use to address them is they just have like a 5-digit alphanumeric code of some letters and numbers identifying the particular album number, and so you might guess what was happening next for the next 5 episodes. Hello, and welcome back to more Corona Trials with Brian. Hello, I can see the sun passing directly overhead at a little opening here. Hello, and welcome back to Corona Trials. Hello, and welcome back to Corona Trials with Brian. Hello, and welcome back to Corona Trials with Brian. We have managed to get 5 of the wool blocks, which means we're probably a third of the way through the map or so. We're 10 episodes in. I guess this is the start of episode 11. And I had these grass path blocks out because Render had given a bunch of them to us in a chest. And I don't know, it didn't quite occur to me just exactly how useful they are or whatever. They're like, I don't know, like Dirt's big brother or something. And so, once again, at the start of those episodes, I was holding different numbers of blocks, although this time, in addition to dirt, there was also a grass path. But I had 15 dirt, 25 grass paths, 4 dirt, 25 dirt, and then 26 grass path blocks in my hand at the start of those episodes. And just in case you needed more of a nudge, people who already knew that they were looking for Imgur albums at this point should know that they're looking for some mix of, like letters and numbers and different things. And the letters can be uppercase or lowercase. And so in episode number 11, which I extended a more extended clip there, I basically said that grass path blocks were like dirt's big brother, which is kind of an awkward thing to say, and I tried to justify it in terms of how they're very useful blocks, and so they're like more powerful than dirt or something. But basically, dirt's big brother was supposed to be a hint that dirt is the lowercase letters and grass path blocks are the uppercase letters. And so those 5 episodes converted into lowercase o, capital Y, lowercase d, lowercase y, and capital Z using the same code as the first 5 letters. And so if you put all of that together, you end up with a URL that looks like this. And if we go to that particular URL, you would find this, where it's a photo of me standing at the monument looking at this chest that I'm standing on with a caption that says, if you want to be recognized by name for finding this, send me a private mail on YouTube with a short description of how you found it, as well as the name that you want to be called. And so that is what some people have managed to discover. And so how, for example, No Leaf Clover, right after episode 12 aired, became the first person to get a named item in this chest. Yeah, and so basically, it's some kind of little reward for solving the puzzle. Really, the reward is in the act of solving it on your own. And for people who enjoy the puzzles, just kind of like enjoying the puzzle. But that is how this all kind of like came to play out and how the people managed to solve it. And most of the people who solved it did not catch my audio cues. Like, they just saw that I was holding different numbers of dirt from the beginning. And so just did the numbers and then had the music disc in the middle that they didn't know what to do with. And so most people didn't hear that I called it an album to suggest an Imgur album, and that I said path blocks or dirt blocks big brother to suggest the uppercase and lowercase. And so they just had this series of numbers with the music disc in between, and still managed to decode it on their own anyway, perhaps knowing that I've used Imgur in the past in some of these invisible scavenger hunts, as I like to call them, where it's basically there's something hidden. It's an Easter egg that nothing really calls out, and you just have to kind of discover it on your own, or perhaps get a few hints from Brian that help steer you in the right direction. So I had a whole lot of fun with that. But in addition to just telling you the answer to the puzzle, I should also talk a little bit about what it takes to set one of these up. So in the Imgur photo album, I said, the caption said, send me a private message on YouTube with a short description of how you found it. I didn't say something like, email this email address in order to claim your prize or something, because there's always the possibility, like on Imgur, you could just go browse random photos and photo albums. And so there's always the possibility that someone random would just stumble across this particular photo. And so I needed to be one of you who solved the puzzle, who's going to be trying to mail me. And so I just said, send me a PM on YT. And so people who are watching would know that that's a private message on YouTube, but otherwise someone who randomly stumbles across the photo will just see some crazy Minecraft snapshot and not know what to do with it. And yeah, it's also a photo of me in the middle of the map. And so when I was planning this out, I wanted to do another Imgur photo puzzle, and so I knew I wanted to have an image that I was going to put up on Imgur, and I wanted it to be from inside the map and actually from standing inside this thing that I was planning to build. But that means a bunch of things. In order to prepare this ahead of time, I needed to know that I was going to get to the monument somewhere where I was going to be able to build a little shrine thing that I could stand in front of. Within 5 episodes, because I wanted to I had the general idea of holding a different number of items in my hand at the start of each episode in order to encode letters. But the only letters that I knew up front were going to be IMGUR, because I hadn't figured out all the rest of how I was going to plan out the puzzle yet. And so I actually talked to my friend War Never Changes, who has also played Render's previous maps and was already playing through this one, and so was a ways into the map before I started, and I asked him if he arrived at the monument quickly, just to get a sense of if I could get there in 5 episodes, and he was like, yeah, you get to the monument really, really kind of early on. So I was like, okay, great. I can have 5 episodes of runway, basically, to make it to the monument, where I can hold IMGUR number of items and then figure out the rest from there. And I was trying to figure out what items I wanted to use, and I decided dirt. I knew also, both from talking to War and Render, the author of the map, that this was an easier map, and so I figured it was likely that we would be able to get dirt right at the start of the map, and that was not going to be a resource we were starved of. And so I decided I would hold dirt from the beginning, and then I began the map in episode 1 and discovered you start in a lobby where you have mining fatigue and there's no dirt available. And so I had to decide what I wanted to do, because basically I couldn't be holding items at the start of the episode. And I thought about like starting the map like 2 minutes in after I'd already like gone through the lobby and started, and saying that I forgot to hit the record button or something silly like that. But I decided that that was lame, and I wanted to read the instructions on camera and that kind of stuff. And so I decided to give myself the dirt blocks back in episode 1, and I just did a /give. And I gave myself 9 dirt, and I tried to place one by accident, and then realized I couldn't pick it up. And so I gave myself another one, and left the one on the ground, and realized that that would be a good thing that I could just use to talk about, to just say that, oops, I made a mistake at the beginning of the episode, to try to allay suspicions or whatever. And I guess it worked out pretty well. So I was using dirt, and by the time I got to the monument and built this little shrine that's over here behind me that I said we'd put some special items in eventually, by that time, I had already discovered that there were music discs, and I'd gotten like 2 or 3 music discs or something. And I was like, hey, a music disc is an album, and I could use this as part of the puzzle to kind of like break up the URL and put it in a photo album, even though it just had one photo. It's in a Imgur photo album, which is like the /A in the URL. And so I decided I would hold the album for episode 6 to make it an album. And then I took the screenshot that is on Imgur that looks like me standing here in front of this. And I had to upload it to Imgur like, I don't know, a dozen times or something, because it gives you a random 5-character code that's the URL. That includes lowercase letters, uppercase letters, and numbers. And I didn't have a good way to do numbers in the code. And so like the first 11 times I uploaded it, it ended up with a number. And so I just, deleted the photo album and started again and uploaded it again over and over and over until I got one that was only letters. It was only uppercase and lowercase letters. And I'd already encountered Podzol in the map, and so I was thinking I was going to use Podzol for the uppercase characters, but then realized that I needed a Silk Touch in order to dig up Podzol, which I'd forgotten about. And so fortunately here in the monument, Render had left us the grass path blocks up at the top of that waterfall that's right behind me on my head over here. And so I realized I could use the grass path blocks, but they're a little bit shorter than dirt. And so it seemed weird that the grass path was going to be like the lowercase and the dirt was going to be the uppercase. And so that's why I decided in episode 11 to say that grass path was dirt's big brother, just in case it's always hard to guess when people haven't figured anything out yet, like what kind of clues people are going to need. But apparently people wouldn't have even needed that clue, because some people managed to kind of brute force right through it once they knew that they were looking for a secret. So yeah. In any case, there's a lot that goes into planning this and having to kind of roll with the punches when you're in a CTM map where you don't know what resources are going to be available and what you're going to find inside the map. But it ended up being tremendous fun for me, both to set this up and then to see people actually successfully solving it once I knew that there was a puzzle out there. And so for those of you who did work on the puzzle and managed to solve it, congratulations. For those of you who worked on the puzzle and didn't manage to solve it, or didn't feel like going back and rewatching the first 11 episodes, which is fine. Yeah, I hope you still got some enjoyment out of it, and if you're still watching this video, hopefully you got some enjoyment out of the explanation as well. In any case, this has already run on longer than I wanted it to, so I will leave it there, and next episode we'll go back to exploring the deeper, darker dungeon, and see if we can go get our 10th piece of wool. So I hope, as always, you guys are having a great day, and I will see you again soon, and always keep your eyes open for more puzzles. Bye-bye!